What's up guys, and welcome to another video. Today is a bit of a different video because I will talk about a topic that is very important to me and that hurts me a lot actually, because when I coach a lot of players, right, and I talk to players, they waste a lot of time in their journey. And what I'm talking specifically about is people literally spending years in the elo brackets between like iron and platinum, right? And the reason why that is, in my opinion, is because people want to play extremely complex champions, and it really hurts me to see. So recently, I'm not gonna name the person, but I had a session with someone, and generally speaking, I'm having contact with someone on Discord where the guy basically wanted to play Qiyana, and he was like bronze, okay? And I told him, you can do that if you want, but it will take you a lot of time. I really recommend against it. And I always say this in my sessions as well. When someone is below Emerald, I usually don't recommend them to play Qiyana, because I think the champion is simply too hard to play. I'll also explain why in a moment. And he still stuck to it, right? And that was quite some time ago. And that was like, I think, 7 or 8 months ago. And then recently I got another DM where he said, "Yeah, I'm super frustrated. I got up one division in like almost a year, and it feels extremely frustrating. Like I don't enjoy this at all. And even though I like the champion, this is really really bad. Like I spent so much time doing absolutely nothing essentially." And I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly why I recommended against it. It's not like I'm bullshitting you guys. This is literally how it works for like 95% of the people. There are always exceptions, guys, but don't always think that you are the exception. It's just much simpler to go a bit of a different route." And what ended up happening is that I recommended him to play a different champion, and I recommended him a couple of different champs that he can play. He went through it, and already after like a couple of weeks, he had a lot more success, and his journey was simply a lot easier, right? Making him climb immediately a lot quicker than like comparatively to playing Qiyana. And I kind of want to explain why that happens. I want you guys to understand why Qiyana is a hard champion, what makes the difficulty of a champion. And I think that's a topic that's super important, especially for the players below Emerald. Because I think as soon as you are Emerald, you are already like a pretty decent player in my opinion, and you can start playing more complex champs. I think below that it is a little bit hard. Like I think high platinum, low emerald is kind of the area where you can start playing more complex champs. And I'll explain exactly why. So, in order to make my point and to kind of explain to you guys what I mean, I will compare Qiyana specifically as a champion, because I'm a Qiyana main, to a champion that's a lot more simpler, like Echo. And I will exactly explain why Echo is a lot easier and what makes the difficulty of a champion, generally speaking. So, what makes the difficulty of a champion, guys? First of all, we have how you deal damage. Okay? I'll keep this really short. Qiyana has 36 combos. Echo has, I don't know, one or two, where he just uses his E, then he uses his Q, then he uses the E2, and then one auto attack or two with Hail of Blades, and that's how he deals damage. He doesn't have to grab an element, he doesn't have to grab the right element, he doesn't have to move within his stealth in order to get a beneficial trade. He doesn't have to imagine 17 different combos in lane for each specific matchup. He doesn't have to understand a level 2 cheese that Qiyana has. He doesn't have to know different setups. Also important, right? Like Qiyana can play Electrocute or Conqueror. He doesn't have to understand the way you kind of move within yourself. Like there's so many different things Qiyana can do to deal more damage. He doesn't have to use auto attack animation cancels in between abilities, right? Like there's so many things that Qiyana has to do in order to deal damage, which simply makes the champ more complicated. Like it's simply much easier to deal damage on a champion like Echo or Naafiri compared to Qiyana. And with that being said, let's move on to the next point, which is wave clear, right? Like how do you actually clear waves with Qiyana? So, the way you clear waves with Qiyana is you have to position in a very certain way to abuse the Q hitbox from Qiyana to one-shot the wave properly in the early game, especially if you don't have Profane. And Profane is not always a core item of the kit, so you really need to know how to shove waves. Also on side lane, and that is really ugly, like it's really annoying to do that unless you perfectly know how to do it. And that's something that you really need to practice, and it just adds another layer of complexity to the champion, right? Like it just makes the champ harder. And if you compare these two, like if you combine these two and compare it to a champion like Echo, like he just fucking Qs the wave and it's gone. Like it's like so simple, bro. You just walk up to the wave, you throw a Q and the wave is gone. very easy to understand, very easy to apply. And yeah, just clear the wave like that. And the reason why wave clear is so important, by the way, is because you need to move out of your lane to make plays. Assassins are really dependent on stuff happening on the map and on kills that they can collect. So not being able to clear waves fast can really hinder your improvement as a player, and it can also just make the journey a lot more complicated for you. Because what you actually want to think about is the place that you run to. You want to think about which side do you go to. Actually want to learn about the game. You don't want to learn like weeks and weeks on to one-shot waves and how to do that properly. No, you want to simplify the game so you can understand the game better, and doing that by playing a simpler champion is simply how you do it. And the third point, and this is kind of the only thing where Qiyana is easy in a way, is reference point clearance, right? So you have a reference point for each champion that the champion is good at. And this essentially means, like, let me translate this. This is simply how you win games, right? Like, champs win games in different ways. As a mage, for example, you want to shove a wave mid lane together with your team. You want to get prio, then you want to get first to the objective, and then you want to control choke points and the area in order to make it hard for the enemy team to come in. And yeah, then you just look at your positioning. You don't die, you value your HP, and you just play for the objective fight properly, like a mage should do. On Qiyana, this is river fights. You want to get into a fog of war position, right? You don't want to show on the map, and then you want to kind of, yeah, just play around the objective, use your ult properly to get a nice ult off in a fight, and yeah, target very specific enemy champions that are strong. For example, the enemy ADC, support, mid laner, whatever. And this is just the only thing that Qiyana is simple at. Like, that's the only simple thing about Qiyana. Everything else is like pretty damn hard, as I mentioned. So this is kind of what makes the difficulty of a champion. And Echo is equally as simple when it comes to reference points, because he wants to side lane just like Qiyana wants to, create numbers advantage plays, and then just, yeah, just play for objectives properly with having Fog of War, using your W out of Fog, and then, you know, getting a really good stun and just, you know, jumping on enemies' squishy targets. And yeah, basically on the enemy backline. And that's kind of how you play Echo, right? And I'm surely like missing a point or two here. I don't want to go in too deep, but I think you get the point. So this is what makes the difficulty of a champ, and this kind of summarizes why Qiyana is so bloody hard as a champion compared to something like Echo. So I want to draw something for you guys. So let's say you have a bronze player or even a silver player, doesn't really matter too much, that wants to learn Qiyana, okay? The amount of time that he will need is roughly like a year, maybe 9 months, right? Something along those lines, in order to have somewhat of good champion mastery to play the champion properly. I didn't just come up with this, okay? I got this from literally having hundreds and hundreds of coaching sessions and clients over the years, and this is literally the average time that it takes for you as a iron to silver player to properly get good at the champion. As a gold player, that's a bit shorter, you have like 6 months, but even that is like not worth it in my opinion to learn the champion. In my opinion, as a high plat, low emerald player, it's like the right time to play Qiyana. And I'll explain why. So let's actually say you are now emerald, right? So you are emerald 4, whatever, and you want to learn a champion. Now, this time span of getting to a somewhat okay level on the champ, where you can actually start climbing and like reviewing games and actually getting good at it, is like 2 or 3 months at max. Some people even need shorter time. And this also depends on how many games you play, right? Like, obviously these numbers are not accurate, they are just a rough idea of how long it takes. And the thing is, right, in order to get to Emerald 4, you can play a simpler champion, and this is where it gets really interesting. And you might get to a really good level of mastery in like 2 months on a champion like Echo or Naafiri, maybe even a month and a half, right? And then you can, as soon as you are here, you will actually climb to Emerald quite quickly. If you actually review your games, if you are good with your process, if you play consistently, and if you have a good relationship with the game. So this means that you can simply learn Qiyana quicker by not playing it. I know this sounds completely stupid, but this is literally how it goes. You can play a different champion, you can get to Emerald 4 as fast as you can, like just really quickly with a different champion. Obviously it's like still not easy, like you still have to climb through the ranks and actually get better and improve and all that stuff, but it's significantly easier with a champion like Echo, Galio, Naafiri, maybe even Talon, comparatively to doing it with Qiyana. So this is just something I really care about, guys, because it hurts me a lot to see people waste their time. You know, we all have limited time on this planet. Please don't waste it by playing Qiyana if you're below Emerald or like below High Plat. I beg you, because it just wastes so much of your time. Even if you enjoy the champion, who enjoys losing? Nobody enjoys losing, guys. I'd rather have you win on Echo or like a different champ for a very long period of time and actually climb, compared to having you lose on Qiyana until you someday get a little bit better. Like, yes, you can do that if you really want to, but it's really not my recommendation, okay? If you have any questions regarding this, I know this is a bit of a controversial topic. I still wanted to make this video because I find it really important, and it's important for me personally to make this video. Um, yeah, just send me a message into the comments. I'm happy to answer all of them, and you can also send me a DM on Discord. Check out the links down below. Join my Discord server; it's completely free. And yeah, also check out my stream and join the MLA if you're looking to join a high quality coaching community. And with that being said, this is the end of the video, guys. I hope that you have a beautiful, nice rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, bye bye, have a nice one.